Due to the nature of this episode, if the discussion of sexual abuse may trigger you, please do not compromise your emotional well-being. Click off of this now and listen to another episode. However, for everyone else still listening, it's time to get uncomfortable. I'm about to remove the candy coating exterior concealing the horrific scope of sexual abuse. This is Rawcaster after all. 1 in 3 females will be a victim of sexual abuse in their lifetime, and 1 in 6 males will also be a victim within their life. You see, unlike most offences, sexual assault is indiscriminate and affects all segments of society, irrespective of class, wealth, ethnicity, etc., etc. Translating these statistics equates that someone very close to you has, at some point, been sexually abused. I'll give that a few seconds to sink in. You see, you have more of a probability of being sexually assaulted than being successful at a job interview. If this fact doesn't cause sheer outrage, you might be part of the problem. Welcome to Rawcaster, your dose of thought-provoking and relatable content in its rawest form. This is evidently going to be a sensitive episode, but how can we expect change if we continue to ignore the obvious? From victim shaming to gaslighting, low conviction rates to the sensitive nature of the crime, sexual assault is an array of complexities. In reality, society would appreciate it if remnants of sexual assault disappeared. However, not the crime itself. No, society protects perversion, whilst we attempt to eradicate the clear reminder that this evil overwhelmingly exists. Hence why victims are shamed, questioned, judged, scrutinised, overanalyzed, doubted, and silenced when they speak up. The entire disposition of a victim of sexual assault is challenged, unlike the victim of any other crime. Picture this, right? Imagine that you are sitting in a cafe and you leave your purse on the table open with money clearly inside. Then a thief comes along, grabs your purse and runs out. Who's at fault here? Would you victim shame the individual who placed his or her purse on the table? To digress for one moment, victim shaming is not the same as providing hindsight advice. In this case, the robbery victim will probably never place their purse on a table in a public setting again. Although, if we were living in a non-toxic society, the victim of this particular crime wouldn't and should not be living precautiously. But obviously, it's easier to shine the spotlight on victims of sexual assault. Otherwise, we would have to inspect our friends, our brothers, our aunties, our fathers, our mothers. And no one is ready for that conversation. I remember as a young child being taught and reminded constantly of stranger danger, which has its place, but the same way charity starts at home, for too many young boys and girls, the home is also where they are brutalized and subjected to unimaginable horrors. But let's take it back to the analogy of the robbery. Nowhere throughout the judicial process will the victim be told that they displayed their assets on show and therefore wanted the crime to take place. The perpetrator will be seen as just that and not mitigated as a humble, loving family man or woman or a respected member of the community. So why is this the case when it comes to sexual assault, a crime against humanity? Most people that I speak to about this topic agrees that sexual assault is wrong. Yet, when dissected and presented with scenarios other than statutory rape, the responses have been highly disturbing, especially when coupled with the fact that 48% of perpetrators genuinely did not believe that they were committing an offence. Ignorance, confusion, and denial completely engulfs this crime, which, in my opinion, enables sexual assault to thrive. With children, men, and women believing that strangers are more dangerous than an individual that you feel at ease with, oftentimes sets the scene for the unimaginable, which then alarmingly warrants the protection of such offenders, as the familiarity generates the fear and manipulation of speaking out. I honestly hope that this episode initiates an open conversation between your peers and your family to eradicate the ignorance and severity of sexual assault. Thank you all so much for listening. If you have been a victim of sexual assault, underneath this video are resources available for you. And remember that this does not define who you are. Share this near and far, and let's discuss the things that really matter. Peace.